Tonight's forum is designed to provide residents, business leaders, and community stakeholders the opportunity to hear directly from the candidates seeking to serve on North Augusta City Council and better understand their vision for the future of our city. As the chamber, our role is to serve as a neutral community. We do not endorse political candidates or parties. Our goal is to foster informed civic engagement and create thoughtful discussion around the issues that impact North Augusta's business climate, economic development, workforce, infrastructure, and overall quality of life. Before we begin, I would like to briefly review tonight's format and expectations. Each candidate will have equal time to respond to questions. Time limits will be enforced to ensure fairness and consistency throughout the evening. The order of responses will rotate from question to question so that each candidate has equal opportunity to answer first. This is not a debate. Candidates will respond to questions individually. Questions this evening were developed through a combination of chamber priorities, current community conversations, and thoughtful input submitted by chamber members and residents. At this time, we will begin with candidate introductions, and we have with us this evening Incumbent David Buck, Caleb Chancey, Jenafer McCauley, David Shellhorse, and Tabitha Waldrop. Let's give them a round of applause. Each candidate will have 1 minute to introduce themselves, share why they are running, and briefly discuss their top priorities for North Augusta. Starting with you, Mr. Buck.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ted, for having us tonight. Can everybody hear me okay? Good. Well, as you said, I'm David Buck, and it's been an honor and privilege to serve the North Augusta City Council for the past 3 years. And some things that I'm very proud of. We've had a lot of projects already done in the city, but one thing that I am excited, we have a lot of growth coming, but obviously we voted to kind of put a moratorium on apartments to help slow down the apartments coming. We also put impact fees to help slow some of the new construction coming. And also we have improved several parks. We got damaged pretty hard by a hurricane, and I feel like we got back on track pretty quickly. I know it wasn't as quick as most people would like, but our parks and a lot of our city handled it pretty hard, and I think we did a phenomenal job of getting that back together. And I want to continue to see these projects go through, and also to see some of the growth slow down. It's going to take hard work. It's going to take people that have already been in the trenches and know what's coming and know what it takes to get things done, and that's why I'm running for city council.
Thank you. Mr. Chancey.
Good evening. Thank you to the chamber and every citizen that came out tonight. North Augusta is my home, and it's where my family is, and it's where I've built my life for the past 20 years. And I want every citizen to hear this tonight. If I earn your trust and vote, and you will have somebody on the council who's not afraid to ask the hard questions and stand up for the people of the city. Because right now, many citizens feel like growth is happening faster than our infrastructure can handle. The city has invested millions of dollars into infrastructure, and yes, repaving roads and renovating aging infrastructure are important. But let's be honest, repaving and renovating alone are not enough if traffic keeps getting worse and residents are struggling to move throughout their own city. At some point, we have to stop pretending maintenance alone is a long-term growth strategy. The real question is, what are we doing to actually prepare North Augusta for the future? Increasing road capacity, improving traffic flow, upgrading intersections, and making sure families, businesses, and emergency services can still efficiently move through this city as growth continues. Our senior citizens deserve more than promises. They deserve leadership that understands many of them that are living on fixed incomes, dealing with rising costs, and wanting to remain active, safe, and connected to the city and help build. Our animals also, we have to prepare to strengthen those partnerships with rescues. And people in North Augusta are not anti-growth, and I'm not anti-growth. But we need to have leadership that recognizes that, and that's why I'm on.
Thank you, Mr. Chancey. Ms. McCauley.
I'm Jenafer McCauley, and I moved to the area in 2005 to run cross-country and track at Augusta State University. At that time, I remember when the Greenway was just getting built around Hammond's Ferry, and I studied exercise science in college. And toward the end of school, I started working at a running store off Exit 5 at Gabriel Station, and that's where I met my husband, and that's when we converted it to a 3 feet. So Fleet Feet is my business, and that has always been very community-based. And through it, I fell in love with community involvement. Over the years, I have served with or worked alongside many different organizations, including the Chamber of Commerce, Downtown Merchants Alliance, United Way, Girls on the Run, the Miracle Mile Foundation, Friends of the Greenway, and the Public Safety Foundation. We've also partnered with so many other organizations throughout our years of business. I have served on North Augusta City Council from 2021 to 2025, and that experience gave me an even greater appreciation for this community. As far as my wonderful family, I could not do any of this without my wonderful husband and 3 children. In 2012, we came to choose where we wanted to raise our family, and we chose North Augusta. We chose North Augusta because of its small town feel, strong sense of community, greenways, schools, churches, and overall quality of life. When I'm running for city council, those are my priorities. That's what I'm focused on. I am focused on the growth of this community and doing the work to be sure that we're prepared for it. And I'll focus on growth, parks, green space, and overall communication with our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm David Shellhorse. I'm a Christian. I'm a family man. I have a boy who's 8 years old at North Augusta Elementary. I have another one who's 13 at North Augusta Middle. And I'm running for them. I really want to see this community maintain this awesome quality of life we have when we're at a critical juncture. My background is economic development. I spent 22 years, 12 of those on the public sector side, recruiting industry, planning, writing grants, funding projects, and the last 10 on the financial side, financing these projects for a bank. I serve on the board of community ministry of North Augusta, and that's really kind of where I started my public service here in North Augusta about 5 years ago. I've since, for the last 4 years, served on the board of North Augusta Forward, working on economic development projects. I'm here because I have a heart for service and I love this community, and I hope to earn your vote tonight. Thank you.
Ms. Waldrop?
I'm Tabitha Waldrop. I'm native to this area. I've been here all my life except for 3 years. When I moved to Warner Robins, Georgia, I served on the DoD contract there supporting the Robins Air Force Base. And then I moved right back to the exact same street that I moved away from. And so if that tells you anything, I love North Augusta. I'm here, just still in the area, and I'm just wanting to serve the community. I've been paying attention to what citizens have been saying for a few years now. I had the blessing of being dosed or laid off last year for about 6 months. Believe it or not, it was a blessing. I was able to listen to and watch what's going on in our city. I was able to attend city council meetings and start wrapping my head around what the concerns were in the community. And I'm a project manager by trade, by the way, and so I can see ways that we can work towards solutions together with partnerships, with nonprofits, with writing grants, with not burdening our taxpayers with the things that the citizens want, like an animal shelter, a senior citizen community, and just several different things that I'm hearing that we need in our city as we continue to grow. I think we need to slow down our growth some so that we don't outpace our infrastructure and outpace our citizens. We have a lot of apartments. I know that's already been spoken to, but you'll hear more of my perspective on these things in just a few minutes, and I appreciate everybody being here, and I appreciate the opportunity to run, and hopefully I earn your vote tonight. Thank you.
Thank you to each of our candidates. We will now move into the moderated discussion portion of the evening. Questions tonight will focus on issues impacting North Augusta's business environment, community growth, infrastructure, workforce development, and quality of life. Each candidate will have 90 seconds to respond. Our first question goes to Mr. Shellhorse. What is your vision for North Augusta's economic future and overall growth over the next 5 years?
Yeah, I'll tell you a story. Several years ago, I was doing what you call a business retention and expansion study in Cherokee County, South Carolina. That's up on the border of North Carolina. And I interviewed 40 manufacturers to determine what the county can do better to create jobs, to sustain their jobs, to retain their jobs. And one of the logical questions on that questionnaire was, which companies, which suppliers would you like to see closer to you here in Cherokee County? And on the other side of that, which customers of yours would you like to see closer to you? And you know what they said? All of them. They said, we want them right where they are. We don't want them near us. And you know why? Workforce. They couldn't compete for the workers. We have to transform our workforce here to a 21st century workforce. We have wonderful assets here to do that with ACONSAG and USCA. But listen, y'all, if we build the workforce, the jobs will come. And that is where communities across the South are struggling. We have wonderful manufacturing opportunities. The world is opening up to all kinds of new mechatronics and CNC operator type jobs. We've got to transform our workforce culture so that people don't go to college for the wrong reasons. They don't go for the prestige or the reputation. They go to get a career. And so if we can really invest in workforce, I think our economy will boom. The other side of that is we have to make this the most business-friendly community in South Carolina. And that's very doable. Thank you.
Ms. McCauley?
Economic growth is already happening in our area, and it's been pretty amazing to watch. Economic growth is like a flywheel. Once it starts going, it just continues to go, and things start to fall into place. Economic growth is typically based on a few things. It's density, proximity to other businesses, to other regions of the community, household income levels, zoning, and taxes. North Augusta is prime for small and medium-sized businesses while still maintaining that hyper-local community feel. That's what makes us unique. It's one of the reasons I chose to invest my own business here. We are a community located between Augusta and Aiken, and that proximity can sometimes make it challenging for businesses who want to invest here. That's why our local businesses thrive here. They have a strong connection to the community without requiring the same level of density that Augusta requires. While I believe small and medium-sized businesses thrive here, I also believe we have certain areas of town that are ideal for larger scale businesses. We have seen companies like Halliburton and Ambio Farm invest and grow here. And we are also seeing larger retail development around Exit 5 and Exit 1. To me, that shows North Augusta can continue growing while still keeping the local character people love about this community.
Thank you. Ms. Waldrop?
Well, my vision for North Augusta is sustainable balanced growth. It's honoring the wishes of our citizens, listening to their concerns. It's incorporating their feedback and input into the decisions that are being made towards growth or slowing it or what have you. I do think that we need to grow some. I think that we don't need to outgrow ourselves, though. And I think as far as training up our next workforce, I think there's a strong emphasis on trade schools, on trade jobs. I think we can bring those industries here as well. I know that there's, for example, Bridgestone in Aiken County. I mean, I'm thinking, what are services, what are products that will always be needed? Those are the types of businesses that we need to bring to cross balance with our service industry that we already have, with the restaurants and the oil change places that I went to the other day, things like that. We need to balance our growth, our commerce, our different businesses. So in wrapping up, sustainable balanced growth, strong local businesses that we attract larger businesses through partnerships with like Fort Gordon Alliance. We can reach out to Savannah Riverside, their engineering opportunities. I think we could bring to North Augusta, for example, diversified commercial development, office space, sure. But what about an office park? We have the BTC building that still sits up on Martintown Road. And let's use some of the resources we already have built. Let's repurpose them and let's bring the businesses to them. We would have infrastructure that's keeping pace, maybe even a little bit ahead of the development that we're seeing, so that we make sure we have the traffic patterns in place in the roads and the sewers that's not at capacity right now.
Thank you, Ms.
That
Waldrop.
sort of thing.
Thank you, Ms. Waldrop. Mr. Chancey?
My vision for North Augusta is to grow financially responsible, community-focused, and beneficial to residents across the entire city, not just a few major projects. And grow should strengthen our tax base, support local businesses, improve services, and protect the quality of life that makes people proud to live here. We need CNC machinists, we need lathe machinists, we need mechanical engineers, not tire engineers like right down the road. We need actual mechanical engineers that work on big machinery. First, I would push for an infrastructure-first growth strategy before developments are approved. And, the council should review traffic impact, drainage, utilities, public safety capacity. Second, I would work to strengthen his local businesses, regional employers, and private investors. But we must protect public dollars and limit taxpayer risk. Third, economic development needs to benefit the entire city. I would support corridor improvement plans that look at vacant properties, traffic flow, beautification, redevelopment opportunities, and business retention through North Augusta. And fourthly, I believe that quality of life is part of economic growth as well, and that means planning for expanded senior services, exploring a future senior center, investing in parks and recreation, and beginning serious discussion with modernized approach to animal services. My goal is to grow economically while staying financially responsible.
Thank you, Mr. Chancey. Mr. Bud?
Yes, ma'am, thank you very much. I see a lot of faces in this room that I've known for a long time. Like I said, I'm born and raised here. I remember when Martin Road was a 2-lane road. That was back in the 80s. And I say that to say we have grown a lot since then. And one thing that I get the privilege of is I'm in Incumbent. And one thing that we do every year is we meet with our directors and we plan 10 years ahead. So we meet with Public Works, we meet with Public Safety, we meet with Parks and Rec. So we're all planning the growth ahead of time. We know what's coming. We know in 5 years how many fire trucks we need, how many police officers we need. So we are already in the process of planning. It's not like it's just coming and then we're going to react to it. We're trying to stay proactive, and that's what I've been doing since the Middle City Council, and I want to continue to do that.
Thank you. All right, so economic development continues to be one of the most discussed topics in our community, as you've heard from our candidates, particularly as growth expands into additional commercial corridors and neighborhoods throughout the city. So for our candidates, how should North Augusta support business development and investment throughout all areas of the city besides downtown and riverfront? And we'll start with Ms. Waldrop.
Well, I think we definitely continue to encourage locally owned businesses, and we can create some predictable processes on the city side of things for communication and making permitting and things like that a little bit easier where we can. I think we need to really look at our organization as a whole for the city and make it as simple as possible for business owners, those who want to be business, but also just our citizens in general. But beyond that, I think we continue looking at the 2035 vision with Augusta. I know that our city administrator is a director at large on that committee. Also, what are we doing about using Masters Week? From the Chamber of Commerce standpoint, I don't know what we're doing, I'll be honest, but what if we had a red carpet event in North Augusta like we have in Augusta, right? What if those that are renting large facilities here in North Augusta, we attract them to bring their businesses here? And so I think we can ride the coattails of the Masters a little bit in North Augusta. I've already mentioned the Alliance for Fort Gordon. I think we have Nike Peach Jam that comes every year. I think we figure out who are our VIPs that attend that, and we start looking at building relationships with them and partnerships with those companies that perhaps they represent or as sponsorships. And then that would, in and of itself, we would have to place businesses in other parts of the city. We couldn't put it in just 1 or 2 corridors. Montown Road couldn't hold it all, and Exit 5 couldn't either. So I would just say I think we have a lot of opportunities to take a look at a lot of different things, and yeah, let's spread the joy across the whole city.
Thank you. Mr. Chancey.
Well, first, I would support a corridor by corridor assessment throughout the city. That means, identifying infrastructure needs and vacant commercial properties and beautification, lighting issues, and things of that such. But I would also support regular business roundtables with small businesses in the area. Roundtables with council members, city staff. Many businesses are not asking for special treatment. They just want to know what we can do for them and why they should stay in North Augusta and what kind of things that what can they benefit from staying here. We need to, let them challenges like permitting and visibility, traffic, workforce needs, partnering with South Carolina workforce. I think that that's an important thing to get employees into the area. I believe infrastructure and appearance matter tremendously for business investment. I would support practical improvements like road maintenance, but businesses are more likely to invest where, in the city. That's also investing attention in them as well.
Thank you. Mr. Bud?
Yes, ma'am. Y'all can see the road coming to exit one. We got the, big development called the Hive. We have the new development near Monterey's coming, and then there was recently a development that could have been planned, or I think it's still kind of in the works, but we put a stop to a couple K-block track off on behind the Highland Hill. So I say that to say that we have growth coming, the things that we're trying to stay on top of is we're already looking at putting a public safety building on Morgantown Road, or somewhere in that corridor, because we know that that's where the growth is coming. And then, of course, we're always looking at other areas as well. But going back to helping promote small businesses, we do the third Thursday, and it's pretty much just around here, downtown, Groves, our village, and we have the trolley that goes around. I like to see us use our other trolley and take that to other businesses throughout the city. So if you want to go down here, you can go to other businesses, 8 to 5. We have some new boutiques up there, and I think that would be something that's really cool to do.
Thank you. Ms. McCauley?
Okay, so back to versus downtown versus the other areas of the community. I don't believe it should be one or the other. As city leaders, we need to take a look at our entire community. Yes, downtown and Riverfront have received a lot of attention, but before I was on council, downtown had not seen the level of investment or attention that it has today. Now, over 15 businesses in just the past 4 or 5 years have opened in that corridor. At the same time, we have new businesses that have opened on Martintown Road, including small and medium, potentially larger scale businesses going to that area. Exit 5 over the last 4 or 5 years, due to its proximity between Washington Road and Aiken, has had numerous businesses open, including hotels, restaurants, and retail. We've also seen the success of Hobby Lobby, Five Below, and Marshall's. So North Augusta is prime for business development. All these areas are chosen by business leaders based off of the environment provided. And as city council members, it's our job to continue to create an environment where businesses can thrive, and that's what I would work on.
Thank you. Mr. Shellhorse?
Yes, I think there's wonderful planning tools that we can employ to revitalize parts of town that basically need it. Think about East Martintown Road, now towards Atomic Road, Belvedere, a place I really have a heart for, serving on the board of community ministry. There's wonderful planning tools like overlay districts where we can decide on the type of development. We can also decide on things like incentives. We don't have to have a preponderance of payday lenders and liquor stores and other vape shops and all that stuff concentrated in these areas. There's things that we can do from a planning standpoint. I think that those types of stores reinforce negative economic outcomes. And I think we can get really smart in our planning on how we do this. I have experience doing that. I wrote the Big Mill Village Revitalization Plan in Gaffney, South Carolina, for example, where we looked at everything from the zoning to the infrastructure needs, and also involved the public, involved a community task force from that area to tell us what they want. I think there's great grant opportunities for plans that we can do. We can work with the Lower Savannah Council of Governments, our dedicated grant writing resource, and I think we can bring relief and revitalization to other parts of our city. Thank you.
Thank you. So with continued growth comes increased demand on infrastructure, city services, and long-term planning. As North Augusta continues to grow, how will you ensure infrastructure, public services, and community input keep pace with development decisions? And that question will start with Ms. McCauley.
Growth and development were not one of the main concerns when I first ran for city council. However, once I was on city council, we recognized early that growth would become one of the biggest issues facing North Augusta. So we started taking steps. One of the biggest things we did was bring departments together for a 10-year planning discussion, so each department could identify their needs based off infrastructure, staffing, equipment needs. The planning helped us guide decisions involving roads, utilities, public safety, and our budgets. I supported the apartment moratorium because I believe we needed time to evaluate the growth. I also supported impact fee planning so new development helps support the infrastructure it relies on. We also worked on major sewer and infrastructure improvements, including the interceptor line at Clay Street Pump Station. Moving forward, I think community input is important. I want to continue having open conversations through meetings, better website and social media announcements, and by staying available and responsible through emails and phone calls. I will always work hard and make myself available to find solutions to these concerns.
Thank you. Mr. Buck?
So I've been saying this over and over about us planning for future growth, just like Ms. McCauley said, we meet on a yearly basis and we plan out 10 years ahead. And something else that we recently did is we had a capital sales project. These are the projects that are coming online. A lot of these has to do with infrastructure. We took our advice from our directors, hey, this is what's coming. And so we took their advice and this is what we put down on paper. And this is the infrastructure that's coming, from public safety to public works to Parks and Rec, from all the departments across the board. So we have been planning and we will continue to plan to help ensure that this community moves in a better place forward and leaves it brighter today than it was yesterday as well.
Thank you. Mr. Chancey?
Well, I would support a stronger review for impact reviews for significant projects and developments. I would push for earlier involvement, a meaningful public engagement, letting them know when we're going to have these meetings, what's going to be involved, what's going to be on the agenda. Let's push the information out to the public so they'll have a chance to come up and speak before a major vote happens. I would support earlier notifications, clear public information and opportunities through affected neighborhoods and businesses to speak up. I believe that accountability is critical. If developers make commitments related to roads, drainage, utilities, landscaping, and other improvements, I believe that the city should track those commitments and make sure that they are completed instead of just relying on the developer to get it done. I would support long-term structure planning that identifies where future growth makes sense and where improvements need to happen first. That gives the city a better roadmap and gives residents confidence. And growth is important, but if it has to be balanced with planning, transparency, and protecting quality of life, that needs to be done in a transparent and responsible way.
Thank you. Ms. Waldrop?
Well, we keep hearing about the comprehensive plan. I think I brought it up as well. I think a 5-year review of that is due right now, but honestly, I think that sort of plan needs to be reviewed about every 2 years. I think that we need to take a look at that plan. We need to dial back some things in that plan so that our infrastructure has time to catch up with what we already are seeing. Just to bring to your attention, I believe, if my count is somewhat correct, we have a total of 1,263 apartments already being built or built right now. With down at Riverside, there are 315 alone down at Riverside. So if you can imagine the number of cars that each one of those apartments bring, and then triple or quadruple that across the city, just from down Martintown Road, between those two extra developments there, plus a few more. And plus we have Parkers, by the way, already built on the opposite side of Martintown Road from the high. So I would say definitely a moratorium on apartments that last more than 2 years. I think we need to immediately extend that to a decade, maybe even further out. I think we need to build out our infrastructure. We need to, by the way, do you know that an animal shelter is considered infrastructure in many municipalities across the United States of America? So I think we really need to consider public safety, all the services they provide, including that. We need to partner with, like I said earlier, nonprofits. Let's figure out how we can get our feet under ourselves before we do much more.
Thank you. Mr. Shellhorse?
Yeah, I think Tabitha said it well. We're at a critical juncture. I live out by exit 1 on Bergen Road. My life is about to fundamentally change with apartments. If you live near Monterey's on Martintown, your life is about to fundamentally change. If you live at exit 5, those apartments are going to change traffic as well. Down by the river, as Tabitha said. We think about this. We also have the Horse Creek wastewater treatment plant, and we are coming up against capacity. And so we have to slow down. And the moratorium on multifamily was the right move. However, I don't believe we can keep that forever. And it's because we live in a great town, and great towns' populations increase. People want to move here. They want to leave bad towns and come here. And as the population grows, our housing supply has to keep up with it. Else, housing becomes even more unaffordable than it already is. So it's a tricky threat. It's a tricky thing to balance. However, we have to grow in the right way. And so we have to preserve the character of our town. We have to have approved tree canopies and vegetative buffers and all of those things. We will grow just like children grow. However, we have to do that in the right way. And keeping up with infrastructure is absolutely imperative. I want to make sure that happens at council. Thank you.
Thank you. So economic growth is not only about buildings and development, it's also about people, workforce, livability, and long-term sustainability. So I have a two-part question, and we'll start with Mr. Chancey. So how can the city strengthen quality of life, community partnerships, and workforce opportunities to ensure North Augusta remains a competitive place to live, work, and do business? And what role do recreation, healthcare access, trails, housing, and community amenities play in attracting and retaining talent? Bite-sized piece.
I believe the city should actively support initiatives that connect students and young adults with skilled trades, healthcare, manufacturing, technology, and other high-demand opportunities, and not just a successful career that requires leaving North Augusta. And we should help create pathways for people to stay and succeed here. Aiken Tech has great programs for skilled trades as well, and Augusta Tech has great, and that's outside of North Augusta, but we could encourage students that attend Augusta Tech to come over to North Augusta and apply for jobs and to live and grow their families here in North Augusta. I believe that North Augusta should plan more intentionally for long-term community needs, including expanded senior programs for the small businesses like NHC and other healthcare facilities here in North Augusta to provide services to them. I would encourage stronger collaboration between local governments, nonprofits, churches, civic groups, and businesses. Many community challenges are solved more with when organizations work together instead of operating separately. And if we want North Augusta to remain competitive, we have to build where businesses can grow and families feel connected and seniors feel supported, and young people can see a future here.
Thank you. Ms. Waldrop, same question?
Do you mind repeating the second part of that
Yes,
question?
ma'am. What role do recreation, healthcare access, trails, housing, community amenities play in attracting and retaining talent?
Thank you. So we've got a great greenway. We have great parks, but they seem to be more concentrated in just one certain area or a couple of certain areas of the city. I think we expand those types of services out. Healthcare, we're getting a new ER on Martintown Road now. But as our population ages, we have to consider senior living and longer-term care type places for those that need that. Beyond that, I would say quality of life. One of the things that we have to consider is we have a homeless population, and to attract people to live, we need to take care of what we have. And I think partnerships with our county, we already pay taxes into services that we can partner with to help those folks out. But also the right kind of housing that we want to bring people in to attract our workforce to live in. I don't believe it's going to be all apartments. And I'll tell you, I gave you apartment number 1263. We have townhomes. The addition I did was about 732. Now this is not counting what's at the high. Okay, for apartments and for apartments you have enough for townhomes or single family homes. Single family homes we only have 632. So I get the feeling, the kind of jobs that we want to attract and the kind of pay that we want to bring in for economic growth for our community, we're going to want some single family homes in addition to what we already planning. So I would offer that up.
Thank you. Mr. Shellhorse.
Yeah, I think we're a community filled with public-private partnerships. One thing people don't talk about a lot revitalize the Bark Park. You know, we have a dog park that was part of the Leadership North Augusta class one year, and the city donated some property. I would also support the city donating land for a new animal shelter. I think it's in a terrible place right now. I think wonderful volunteers help make it a success along with our great animal control officer. And I think there's all kinds of good partnerships. North Augusta Ford, for example, raises money for tasteful trash receptacles and benches and bike racks on the Greenway and downtown, Creighton Park. Creighton Park's another example of a public-private partnership. We need more public-private partnership with Parcel D. I don't like where it currently stands. I think we're now back to square one of it being 20 townhomes. I think that's not a good win for us, and I think we need to keep that as green space so as not to congest that area even further. We're talking about growth and congestion and infrastructure not being keeping up. But I mean, think about this, a police or fire emergency at that bottleneck of that traffic circle. Think about it. And we're putting 20 more townhomes and 40 more cars and 50 more toilets on sewer. You know, so we have good public-private partnership here. The city's been a willing partner, but we need more, and I'll ensure that we get that.
Thank you. Mr. Buck?
Yes, great question. So something that's kind of popped in my head. Since I've been on city council, we initiated a couple of boards. We have a park and rec board, and we recently have a beautification board. So I thought with our location, we're right in between SRS and Fort Worth, the two biggest employers in the whole CS area. Why don't we get some type of a board that have citizens that live here, that work at both of these facilities, and come together and get ideas of what they're hearing from their counterparts, of what they want in the city and why they live here. I think that would be a great idea.
Thank you. Ms. McCauley?
So I took this question along how to get businesses to want to be competitive and stay here. And so for me, I feel like that's the quality of life that North Augusta already is providing. Businesses want to locate to places where people want to live, raise their family, and feel connected. And quality of life is one of North Augusta's biggest strengths. That's why when I mentioned the flywheel of businesses coming to our town, it's happening. Our quality of life here is amazing, and people see it, and they're seeing that, and that's why businesses are opening here. I also believe partnerships are a big reason our community has been successful. I've seen firsthand through Fleet Feet, local races, and nonprofit involvement what can happen when businesses, schools, nonprofits, and groups work together. A lot can be done, and it's already happening in our community. And I think it's important to recognize that and just know that we are doing good things to keep it going there. As a small business owner, I understand workforce challenges, supporting entrepreneurship, helping small businesses grow, and continuing to improve amenities to help create opportunity here. We live in a wonderful town, and there's a lot to offer, and I do believe that is why currently businesses are looking here, and we just need to continue to maintain that. Thank you.
Thank you. So our final primary question focuses on leadership, accountability, and communication with the community. We'll start this question with Mr. Buck. How will you measure success as a council member, and how will you communicate progress and accountability back to residents and businesses?
Yeah, great question. Thank you for that. So one way, and I'm sure that some of y'all have seen Facebook pages and people ask for information, ask for help. And that's one thing that I've always done. It's not just what I do on Monday nights, it's what I do 7 days a week. I'm always getting phone calls, messages, texts. Hey, can you look into this? Or I've got an issue with this. And I'm always one of the first ones to jump in and lend a helping hand. You can ask my wife, she'll tell you that my phone's always going off. But another way to measure is to see what we've done. I was recently on Woodlawn Avenue where a woman's basement was flooded, and I looked into this, and all of a sudden now the stormwater runoff is being fixed, and her basement isn't flooded anymore. So that's being held accountable. That's working for the citizens. Now we're continuing to do that. I need your vote June 9th.
Thank you. Mr. Shellhorse?
Yes, so accountability, you know, one technical thing that we can do is add a dashboard like much of what we see in corporate America. So a dashboard would have budget information, would have goals to be set by citizen task forces. So take any given area like Parks and Rec, you know, establish goals and then establish what you call key KPIs, key performance indicators, and quarterly report on those. See what the task force recommended, how far are we getting. Also very important information about coming votes and budget. So just an online living dashboard on the website, I think would be there's plenty of cities who do it, and we could, you know, wouldn't have to reinvent the wheel there. I also said in our last public forum that I would be willing to invest resources in a public affairs office at the city of North Augusta to bring information to the people so that people aren't always digging for it. Now, I'll add a caveat that I don't want to hire it necessarily because I don't want to raise taxes. But I can imagine training an existing employee to become a community affairs officer, and that way we can proactively deliver this information. And yeah, I think those simple steps could help citizens feel a lot more informed and a little less blindsided by developments that we're all seeing today. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McCauley?
Success as a council member can be hard to define. There's always going to be agreement and disagreement with any of the decisions that we're making up there. For me, I took the advice of a former council member, Bob Brooks, and as long as I can lay my head down at night and trust that I made the best decision based off of information, community involvement, and my heart, that was success to me. That's kind of how I would define success as a council member. As far as accountability back to residents, I'm always trying to make myself available, whether it's through community events, business involvement, or just direct conversations. I would continue to do that. I do believe that we can do a little bit better on our social media presence and getting information out to citizens, so that would be a priority to me as well. And I think we could use a little bit better website for our city as well, that's a little more user-friendly.
Thank you. Mr. Chancey?
Well, I would measure success as a council person, as a councilman, as when I go to bed at night, did I do everything that I can for the city? Did I make the best decision that I can in order to make improvements for the city? Did I go to bed tonight knowing that citizens of North Augusta are safe? I would measure that also as better communication, better transparency, sending out information on an earlier basis. Dashboard, yes, let's have a dashboard, on the website. Let's have information as far as major projects that are going on and the steps that we have or taken or going to take, and the questions, that people can ask on there. Let's have a message board on there where the people in North Augusta can submit questions. What's going on, or they have an issue going on. And, there's a person at the council meeting on Monday night asking about the water bill again. Why don't we have that information? Because every time I call the city, I don't get anybody. I get an answering sheet. That's what I get. Why don't we have that information? Just like David said, a communication officer. Let's have somebody that can answer those questions. Let's have somebody that can actually look into that and then get back instead of having them go back to the council meeting and ask in front of 100 people and the mayor and the council, about their water bill or about anything that they're having an issue with, because they cannot get through. And that's what I would measure success as a councilman.
Thank you. Ms. Waldrop?
I would measure it by how fewer citizens are angry with our city government, number one. Number two, I would like to see a reformatted budget that anybody can read to see where our money's coming in and where it's going out. I like the ideas of dashboards. That's what we do as project managers. We build those out. We see where we are with the KPIs that David mentioned. But I would say very simply, less FOIA requirements. When you want to know what our city charter, where is it? What is it? If you ask for a simple budget number, why do we have to pay somebody that we're already paying our tax money for their salaries to look up something for us when we can't find it because it's not accessible to the normal citizen already? Those are things. I would say, herd citizens, and Caleb mentioned a guy that showed up Monday night. I want to tell you about a guy that showed up last meeting that was there 2 Monday nights and had to come to a second meeting because he couldn't speak during the study session. So this is happening over and over and over. We really need to look at our organization. That's what my master's degree is in, organizational performance. I think our city management needs to look at our practices, what are we putting our citizens through, and I think as a council member, as their advocate, I could push for that, and that would be a success. If you could make that happen.
So thank you, candidates. We'll now move into a brief lightning round. These questions are intended to provide shorter responses and quick insight into priorities and leadership perspectives. Candidates will have approximately 30 seconds for each response. So you have some questions. Give you a quick second to gather yourself from the moment. You ready? We'll start with Mr. Chancey. What is the biggest opportunity facing North Augusta today?
Well, the biggest opportunity is bringing companies or businesses into North Augusta, making them feel welcome, making sure that we provide them with all the information that they need in order to operate efficiently. I believe that growth is a big opportunity for North Augusta, but as long as we don't grow faster than infrastructure can put up with it. But growth only becomes an opportunity if it is planned properly.
Thank you. Mr. Shellhorse.
Yeah, to be the most thriving city in the CSRA, we're an economic development dream. We're a riverside location. We have wonderful workforce development assets, and we have wonderful quality of life. With the right leadership, we can get there.
Thank you. Ms. Waldrop.
Going back to my previous comment, giving our citizens the opportunity to be heard, maybe look at our format of how we do city council meetings. But I think a huge opportunity for our city is simply to slow down a little bit, be thoughtful about what we're doing, and actually, as we're looking at our plans, really plan and take everybody's perspectives into account, even if we disagree or if it can't happen. I think we have the opportunity to help our citizens be a part of our decision-making processes in many ways.
Thank you. Mr. Buck.
Yes, one thing that we currently do with being on city council is we go to municipal association meetings. And every time I go to these meetings, I meet council members and mayors from all over the city. And what do they tell me? North Augusta has it going on. We are North Augusta's riverfront. And one thing, our biggest opportunity is the assets that we have here, that we can continue growing with those assets. And like I said earlier, our capital sales tax, those projects, and that's our biggest opportunity, is capitalizing on those projects and getting them done.
Ms. McCauley.
Yes, I think our biggest opportunity is business development right now. We have multiple businesses opening in our area, and that's based off of our quality of life and the amazing area that we live in. I think we just continue to do what we've been doing. There's always room for improvement, but I think that's one reason we all chose to live here in North Augusta is because of the quality of life, and I think that's what's bringing businesses in, and I think that's the opportunity that we have.
All right. Next question. What is the biggest challenge facing North Augusta? And we'll start with Mr. Shellhorse.
Sprawl and affordability. Okay, Washington's trying to make life for Americans unaffordable with all this inflation. We got to do what we can at the local level to keep things affordable and stop sprawl. We can do this smarter.
Mr. Chancey.
Yes, I believe that the greatest challenge is the strong. I believe the biggest challenge is build, and not holding anybody, holding anybody accountable for that growth. I believe that we need to settle down and check out the challenges of growth and make sure that we are giving priority where priority is deserved, and that's to the citizens of North Augusta and what they want, what they need in order to live a quality of life.
Ms. Waldrop.
Well, of course, it's too much too fast as far as the growth. That is a major challenge. But I would say trust in our leadership, both elected and those that we have on staff. I think we need to start figuring out how to build that trust with our citizens. That is a major challenge. And then beyond that, definitely trying to make sure we can maintain our quality of life, and at this point, probably even try to improve it. Because in some respects, it is starting to decline just a little bit with all of the growth we've got.
Thank you. Mr. Buck.
Yes, so of course the biggest challenge, we all know this, is growth. And another thing is affordable housing. I see that every day with what I do. But, so we have some big challenges, and it takes people that have experience to meet these challenges, and I am the person who can get that done.
Thank you. Ms. McCauley.
I'm probably going to echo David Buck, but growth is our biggest challenge. South Carolina is one of the fastest growing states in America right now. Every city is facing that, so I think anybody that ends up on city council needs to be evaluating that as soon as they get out on to council and be revisiting it every single year because it's going to continue to change and it's something that we need to focus on.
Thank you. Next question. What will be your top priority during your first 90 days in office? Ms. Waldrop.
I've had 4 or 5. I'll do as fast as I can. First of all, we need to take a look at that comprehensive plan we keep talking about. That's day one, we gotta pull that thing out and start revamping that a little bit. Next, we need to take a look at our city administrators' residency requirements. I think that's a huge, requirement. And we
Wait,
need
hold on, if you don't mind if you're close, thank you.
senior center, we need a senior center, and yes, we need an animal shelter.
Thank you, Mr. Buck.
One thing that I would do in 90 days, something I've been trying to work on the last 3 years, is to continue to improve our communication between the city and the citizens.
Ms. McCauley.
I would, go ahead and start focusing back on growth. When I was on council, that 10-year planning happened in 2023, so we'll be actually, it'll be 4 or 5 years in, so we need to go back to that and revisit that drawing board and also present it to the citizens, because I know a lot of people aren't aware of what we talked about in 2023. So reiterating things year by year, I think is important to everyone.
Mr. Chancey.
Yes, first of all, financial reviews. I want to know about why, where, how the money is being spent. First of all, that goes along with transparency. Second of all, improve transparency and communication with the citizens of North Augusta so residents understand major projects and the budget that we are working on. Senior services, animal shelter. Animal shelter improvements are great and that's wonderful and all, but if you can't find an animal shelter, then how are you supposed to work with the animal shelter in order to adopt animals?
Thank you, Mr. Shellhorse.
Yeah, so a deep dive on planning and zoning. We gotta make our zoning work for us, especially priority revitalization corridors like East Martintown Road and Belvedere. Those places are struggling, we can do better. And then the transparency measures we discussed, dashboard, community affairs officer.
Thank you. Next question. What is one thing North Augusta must protect as it continues to grow? We'll start with you, Mr. Buck.
Yes, we definitely got to protect our green space. We don't make any more land. Also with clear cutting, I'm tired of seeing these mass projects just get bulldozed over. And I think the planning commission is looking at some ways that we can kind of get around that, and I want to see that go forward.
Thank you, Ms. Waldrop.
Definitely agree with David on what he just said about all that, but I would say definitely our community look and feel the character of our city and our small town feel. The thing that draws people to the city, that's what we have to protect.
Mr. Shellhorse.
Architectural integrity of our community. Fayetteville, Arkansas does a great job of this. If you want to look it up, they'll say yes to every developer that comes to town. And then, yeah, character, you got it. And there's plenty of things we can do for that.
Ms. McCauley.
I'm going with small town feel and character too. Somebody asked me today at work about North Augusta. I said it reminds me of small town America where we have our Christmas tree lighting and cookie crawls. That's what we need to maintain. We need to maintain where you walk into stores and you know the owners that are there and you know who you're speaking with. Growth is going to happen, but I think that we can work towards maintaining that quality of life that we have here.
Mr. Chancey.
Just like my campaign sign says, protect what makes North Augusta home. And that includes our green space, and clear cutting is an awful situation right now. We need to protect, and have better buffer zoning as well. And, once green space is gone, it's gone. Once we build on it, it's gone. So we need to make sure that we keep that as a priority as, we serve North Augusta.
Thank you. Final question. In one word. How would you describe North Augusta's future? We will start with Ms. McCauley.
Right.
Mr. Chancey.
Opportunity.
Mr. Shellhorse.
Boundless.
Ms. Waldrop.
Dynamic.
And Mr. Buck.
I would say one word is beautiful.
Thank you. All right, thank you, candidates. We will now conclude with closing statements. Each candidate will have 1 minute to share final thoughts with the audience. And we will begin with Ms. Waldrop.
On March 22nd, I released a video on social media that stated my platform, the reason why I'm running. And I invite everybody to go back out. People say I got about 15,000 or 16,000 views right now. But I would just say to you that in closing, I past several weeks, I have observed all of our candidates sitting at this table. The one that's not here hasn't done this, but at least they've taken a part or even the whole platform. And so if, and claim some of it, I am proud of that. I am honored. I think we're listening. And I would say, if I do not get enough votes to sit in that council seat, our platform wins, the citizens win, and I would just ask for your vote, because I think we're gonna need somebody with a backbone that will be able to push it through, and I have that backbone.
Thank you, Mr. Shellhorse.
Yeah, I'll just reiterate, we're at a critical juncture, and I think we're all standing for the same things. You know, something happened at the last forum. We were all given the opportunity to rebut one another. And did you know that none of us rebutted the other? That speaks to the politics of this community. I think you all deserve a hand for that. But listen, I bring a unique background. So I have a background in planning and economic development and grant writing and funding. And I had a lot of people ask me to say, hey, would you be willing to run and maybe bring some of those insights to council? I also have a heart for service as a Kimona board member, as a North Augusta board member, and I really, really care about this community, and I more care about my kids, because I want them to grow up here and want to stay here, and to afford to stay here. And we're at a critical juncture. We're making decisions that's going to impact their future decisions. So help me make those decisions, good decisions that we all want. Thank you.
Ms. McCauley.
Thank you all for coming here tonight. I'll just leave with, I'm a hard worker and I love to listen, so I will always do the work and always try to find the information. If you have questions, please reach out to me. I always want to be available to you guys. I'm a young mom, I'm a small business owner. I think that creates a unique aspect for me to be on city council. I'm constantly out in the parks right now and within the community, so I think that's one of my strengths. I just appreciate you guys all being here, and I hope I can earn your vote on June 9th.
Mr. Chancey.
I'm not a public speaker, as you may know. So you'll hear me read off these notes, so bear with me here for just a second. I released a video the same way Tabitha did, and I was called a nice guy, middle of the road. Well, I'm not the middle of the road, but I am a nice guy, let's just say that. But let me just let you guys know a little thing here. But at the end of the day, the election is about one question. Who is going to fight for people who call North Augusta home? Who's going to ask the hard questions before taxpayer dollars are committed? Who's going to push for infrastructure that keeps up with growth instead of reacting after the fact? And who is going to make sure our citizens are not forgotten and our animals are not forgotten, or our neighborhoods remain protected and our quality of life continues to matter? And just as importantly, who is going to demand transparency and make citizens fully informed before major decisions are made? Leadership is not about titles. It's not about politics. It's not about who gets credit. Leadership is about responsibility, and it's about having courage to stand up and listen to the public.
Thank you. Mr. Buck.
Yes, well, thank you so much for having us here, and thank you all for coming. Great crowd tonight. But I love the city. I love being on city council. I love eat and breathe this city. You can ask me, my family, and you can ask my friends. The one thing that I love about being on city council is helping people. I'm on several other organizations, boards, things like that. I'm a local coach here. I've been coaching for 24 years. I'm on school boards, there's school improvement councils and things like that. So I say all that is to say I'm here to help. And like I said earlier, it's just not what I do on Monday night. That's what I do 7 days a week. And I'm easy to find, I'm accessible. I'm gonna tell you, if I tell you I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. I think I started showing you next anybody knows me. And I'm asking for your vote June 9th.
Let's give our candidates a round of applause. The North Augusta Chamber of Commerce, thank you to our candidates for participating this evening and for your willingness to serve our community. Thank you as well to everyone in attendance tonight. Strong communities depend on informed and engaged citizens, and your participation in conversations like this matter. The Chamber remains committed to supporting a strong business climate, thoughtful growth, and continued collaboration throughout the community. We encourage everyone to stay engaged, stay informed, and most importantly, vote. Thank you, have a wonderful evening, and safe travels.